How's it going, everyone? Austin Honecker here. I just wanted to come on here for a while and give him a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite from last night, which was June 20, June 30th, 2021. I gotta say it was awesome from start to finish. For the matches, match one, it was Pena. Match one, it was Pena El Cerro Miedo and Eddie Kingston versus the Young Bucks, which are Matt and Nick Jackson. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Pena El Cerro Miedo and Eddie Kingston went over because Pena El Cerro Miedo pinned Matt Jackson with the back fist to the future from Eddie Kingston. Match two, it was Jungle Boy versus Jack Evans. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Jungle Boy went over with the snare trap. But after the match, the Hardy family office, which are Matt Hardy, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, and Angelico, came out to try to attack Jungle Boy, but Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt came out to save Jungle Boy. Well, Christian Cage went after Matt Hardy, Luchasaurus went after Angelico, and Marco Stunt went after Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy. Well, Luchasaurus had Angelico backstage beating the shit out of him, and Marco Stunt was brawling with Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, and Christian was, and Christian Cage was beating the shit out of Matt Hardy, and Christian Cage executed a reverse DDT to Matt Hardy, and Christian Cage took Matt Hardy's suit jacket off and started choking him with it, and Jack Evans came in the ring and tried to save Matt Hardy, but Matt Hardy retreated from the ring, and Christian Cage attacked Jack Evans and started and punched him in the face a few times and knocked him out of the ring, and Christian Cage and Matt Hardy stared each other down and everything, where Matt Hardy was on stage and Christian Cage was in the ring, they had a stare that they were staring each other down and everything, which that was cool. Match three, it was Miro versus Brian Pillman Jr. for the AEW TNT title. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Miro went over and retained the AEW TNT title with the game over. Match four, it was Britt Baker and Rebel versus Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. That was a great match, but the ending to it, Britt Baker and Rebel went over because Britt Baker made Vicky Guerrero tap out to the lockjaw. Well, after the match, as Rebel and Vicky Guerrero were laid out, Nyla Rose attacked Britt Baker from behind, and Nyla Rose executed a power bomb to Britt Baker, and Vicky Guerrero instructed Nyla Rose to powerbomb Britt Baker through a table. So Nyla Rose got Britt Baker on the apron, and Nyla Rose executed a powerbomb to Britt Baker through a table. And Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero stood tall and everything, which that was cool. And match five, which was the main event, it was MJF versus Sammy Guevara. That was a great match, but the ending to it, MJF went over because Shawn Spears came out and attacked Sammy Guevara with a steel chair, and MJF got the pin on Sammy Guevara and it was over. Now, besides the matches, Christian Cage and Jungle Boy were backstage, and Christian Cage was telling Jungle Boy that he was proud of him for his accomplishments in AEW, and even though he didn't win against Kenny Omega, he took Kenny Omega to the limit, and Christian Cage was also saying to Jungle Boy that that today's a new day, it's a new week, and make the best of it, and go out there and get your 50th win in AEW. And as Christian Cage was given the words of wisdom to Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt came along, and Luchasaurus thanked Christian Cage for having Jungle Boy's back while he was gone, and was saying that dinosaurs were loyal, and since Christian Cage had Jungle Boy's back, Luchasaurus himself was going to have Christian Cage's back. And Christian Cage was saying to Luchasaurus that on his mom's side he had a Triceratops or whatever on his mom's side and everything, and well, Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, no, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus left and were continuing their conversation and everything, and Marco Stunt was giving Jungle Boy a hug and everything, wishing him luck in his match against Jack Evans and everything, and Marco Stunt left and Jungle Boy was just looking on and everything, which that was cool. Tony Schiavone interviewed Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, and Tony Schiavone was asking Ethan Page why he challenged Darby Allin to a coffin match. And Ethan Page was saying that he threw that he hasn't done enough to Darby Allin to end him, because he threw him down the steps. He came back. Threw him through the crowd. He came back. And before he started in AEW, he broke his nose and broke his elbow. He came to AEW. So, and then Ethan Page was saying that he chose the coffin match because that's the only way he's going to end Darby Allin for good, and he's going to and he said every time Darby Allin does the coffin drop after that, he'll think of Ethan Page and everything. And as Ethan Page was continuing to talk more shit, Sting came out with a coffin, and a video aired of Darby Allin, working on a coffin and everything. And after that video, Sting, because like I said, Sting came out with the coffin, but after that video Darby Allin aired, Sting opened the coffin. And Darby Allin jumped out of the coffin, and Darby Allin ran in the ring and attacked Ethan Page, beating the shit out of him, and Scorpio Sky tried to beat the shit out of Darby Allin, but Sting came in the ring and executed the Scorpion Death Drop to Scorpio Sky, laying him out. And Darby Allin was on top of Ethan Page, beating the shit out of him, having him in a chokehold and everything, and then gouging his eyes. And the referees and the security had to come out and get Darby Allin off of Ethan Page, and Ethan Page retreated, and Ethan Page got on the microphone and was talking about saying that the coffin match was off because Darby Allin was crazy, and also Ethan Page told Darby Allin that if he can behave himself and not touch him, the week before their match, then at Fyter Fest, he'll give him the coffin match and everything. Well, Ethan Page left, and Scorpio Sky was still laid out, but Ethan Page left, and Sting and Darby Allin were still in the ring, along with the referees and the security and everything, which that was cool. MJF cut a promo, and MJF was talking about how Chris Jericho used to be cool, and how Chris Jericho used to be a genius in professional wrestling and everything, and talked about how since he came to AEW, he's been saying nothing but perverted shit, like Looney Tunes and everything, and MJF gave Chris Jericho his match, but he has to follow through some stipulations, and if he don't follow the MJF was saying that if Chris Jericho don't follow through the stipulations, then he won't have his match, and MJF was also saying about Chris Jericho, saying that saying that if Chris Jericho follows through the stipulations, and if MJF himself beats Chris Jericho, then Chris Jericho will have to leave MJF alone forever. And then MJF switched gears in his promo and was talking about Sammy Guevara, saying that he was going to kick Sammy Guevara's ass and everything, and after MJF gets done with Sammy Guevara, he was saying that Sammy Guevara could go on his vlog and tell the people that MJF is better than him and he knows it and everything, which that was cool. Alex Abrahantes interviewed Andrade El Idolo, and Alex Abrahantes was asking Andrade El Idolo what was on his mind and everything, since Matt Sydal interrupted him and Vicky Guerrero's announcement last week on AEW Dynamite. Well, Andrade El Idolo was talking about how Matt Sydal did interrupt his announcement, and he wants revenge for it. And so next week on AEW Dynamite's Road Rager, it's going to be he's going to have a match against Matt Sydal and everything, which that was cool. Tony Schiavone interviewed Kenny Omega. Well, Tony Schiavone was talking to Kenny Omega about how last week on Saturday he had a great match against Jungle Boy for the AEW title, and he won fairly and everything. And Kenny Omega got on the microphone and was talking about how he's the greatest champion in AEW history, and was talking about taking some time off because he doesn't have a number one contender for the AEW title, but you can see him in other promotions like Impact Wrestling and AAA and everything, and then the Dark Order, which are Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, 5'10", and Colt Cabana came out, and Evil Uno got on the microphone and was saying to Kenny Omega that Kenny Omega may not have any number one contenders lined up, but Evil Uno was talking to Kenny Omega, saying that you know, pretty much saying how Kenny Omega don't have no number one contenders for the AEW title and everything, and Kenny Omega got on the microphone and was talking about how the Dark Order don't have enough wins to face him for the AEW title and everything, and Evil Uno was telling Kenny Omega that he was right, that none of the Dark Order have enough wins to face you for the AEW title. And then Evil Uno was talking about, and then Evil Uno was saying, but we know someone that does. He's a man you know very well, and he's a man you used to be friends with. And Kenny Omega was saying that if you think, if it's who I think it is, he wouldn't want you to speak up for him. If I think I know who it is, he said, if I think who it is, he don't have the guts to challenge me. And everything, and then Kenny Omega ended the segment saying, goodbye and good night, bang, and everything, which that was cool. Brian Pillman Jr. cut a promo and was talking about how he was going to kick Miro's, how he grew up without anybody but good friends, and how Miro had everything he wanted and everything. And Brian Pillman Jr. was talking about how he was going to kick Miro's ass and take the AEW TNT title from him and everything, which that was cool. Let me see. Oh, Alex Marvez was attempting to interview Hangman Page and the Dark Order, which are Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, 510, and Colt Cabana. But before Alex Marvez could get an interview in, the Dark Order were already backstage, but Hangman Page showed up and was all pissed off at the Dark Order because Hangman Page didn't want the Dark Order to speak for him and everything, and the Dark Order were trying to lift Hangman Page's spirits up to go after the AEW title and everything, which that was cool. Team Taz, yeah. Team Taz, which are Taz, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Hook, cut a promo, and Taz was talking about how in recent months, Team Taz has had some dissension. And that dissension has been between the Machine Brian Cage and Absolute Ricky Starks. And Taz was saying that he was getting tired of the tension between Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, and Hook expressed his Hook said his opinion that he was getting tired of it, and then Powerhouse Hobbs was saying his opinion about getting tired of it, and then Taz said that on night one of Fyter Fest on July 14th on AEW Dynamite, Fyter Fest night one, it's going to be Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks for the FTW title and everything, which that was cool. The Inner Circle, which are Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz, cut a promo, and Jake Hager was talking about how Wardlow was getting ready to earn his respect because Wardlow stepped in his world in the octagon and took him to the limit and everything, but Sean Spears, but the bitch Sean Spears, the bitch Sean Spears showed up and attacked him from behind and everything. And Santana and Ortiz were talking about how FTR, which are Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, crossed the line by attacking Conan and everything, and Santana and Ortiz were saying that they play dirty, but they're going to have to play dirtier. And Santana and Ortiz were talking about how Tully Blanchard is going to be in the corner of FTR and Wardlow, but since that's going to happen, Conan is going to be in the corner of Proud and Powerful, which are Santana and Ortiz and Jake Hager and everything, which that was cool. And AEW aired a video package of the time they spent at the Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida throughout the pandemic era and everything, which that was cool. Now, besides all that, Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur done commentary throughout the whole show. They done awesome as usual. And Chris Jericho done guest commentary along with Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur during the throughout the whole show. Chris Jericho done awesome on guest commentary. The referees for the event were Rick Knox, Paul Turner, Bryce Remsburg, and Aubrey Edwards. Okay. Rick Knox refereed the match between Pena El Cerro Miedo and Eddie Kingston versus the Young Bucks. Paul Turner refereed the match between Jungle Boy versus Jack Evans. Aubrey Edwards, that was Paul Turner, by the way. Aubrey Edwards refereed the match between Miro versus Brian Pillman Jr. for the AEW TNT title. Paul Turner refereed the match between Britt Baker and Rebel versus Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. And that was Paul Turner, by the way. And Bryce Remsburg refereed the match between MJF versus Sammy Guevara. All the referees done awesome as usual. Now, the match card for next week's episode of All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite special event, Road Rager. It's going to be the Young Bucks, which are Matt and Nick Jackson, versus Pena El Cerro Miedo and Eddie Kingston for the AEW Tag Team titles. Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall in a South Beach strap match. The Inner Circle, which are Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz versus The Pinnacle, which are Wardlow, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler. Andrade El Idolo versus Matt Sydal, and Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander versus The Blade and The Bunny. Those are the matches that have been announced so far. Now, besides the matches that have been announced for AEW Dynamite's special event Road Rager, Chris Jericho Chris Jericho and MJF will come face to face and everything. Yeah, Chris Jericho and MJF will come face to face. Now, the match card for AEW Dynamite's Road Rager looks like it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it and everything. But anyway, I just, but anyway, I just want to come on here for a while and give them a review for All Elite Wrestling's AEW Dynamite from last night, which was June 30th, 2021. Like I said, it was awesome from start to finish. And with that being said, my name is Austin Honecker, and I will catch your ass down the road. Peace out.